What's up YouTube? My name is Jags. I got a haircut and today we're doing an After Effects tutorial because I haven't done one in a very long time, and today I want to talk about HUD elements and how I'm lazy and I like to use expressions to do most of the design work for me. So let's go right in After Effects and I'll show you how I use a couple very simple expressions to do most of the work for me. Alright. To make a HUD element in After Effects, you need to start with something in the middle. So let's go with that. We'll double click on our shape tool and we will hit UU on our keyboard and we will go into that rectangle path and we will set the width, first unlink them, width to 10 and the height to 50. Then we will duplicate that path and then we will reveal those properties and we'll set it to 50 and 10. And we'll get rid of the stroke width. So now we have this plus sign. We will hit S and Shift R on a keyboard to reveal the scale and the rotation property. We will make a keyframe on the scale property, go forward in time by 20 frames, shift page down twice, 1, 2, and we will hit the scale property, set that to 150, and then we will hit a rotation keyframe, and we will go forward 20 frames, shift page down twice, or use gaming mouse, and we will set this to 45. And then we will make a scale property keyframe once again and go forward 20 frames. And then we will go down to 100%, back to its original spot. And then for the rotation, we'll make another keyframe. We will go forward 1, 2 in time, and we will set that to 90. So now we got this animation. Doot, 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 doot. Nothing too fancy. It might be going a little too slow for me. So what we're gonna do is we are going to go to the 2-second mark on our timeline, hold Alt on our keyboard, select that last keyframe, bring that in, and then we'll hit F9 on our keyboard to give those keyframes a little bit of love. And we will just be like, sweet. That's a cool looking animation. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit Control Shift K on our keyboard. And right now we're affecting the scale. We'll set that to 75 and 75. These numbers are arbitrary. You can change the influence however you want and it will influence the way, or rather the speed in which the animation occurs. So now we have the animation looking like this. And then what we're gonna do is do the same thing for that rotation property, 75, 75, and then we will see this. Cool beans. Now we're going to alt click on the scale property and we'll just type in loop out. And it will autofill if you are on the latest version of After Effects, Adobe Creative Cloud. Hit enter, and then we will select that and then do the same exact thing for our rotation property, Control C, Control V, and now it will loop infinitely in time. So with this going infinitely in time, we have our center element done. Let's do the outer bits now. So to make the outer bits of our HUD element, we need to make another shape. So to do that, we're gonna go back up to our shape tool. Right now I have the ellipse tool here, and if you double click that, it will make a shape the size of your composition. Now I'm working in a 1080 by 1080 composition, so if we hit UU on the keyboard with that layer selected, it will reveal all the properties that have changed from the defaults, and we'll see it is 1080 by 1080. Let's change that to 900, and if we go into that stroke width, we can collapse that, then uncollapse it. It will reveal all the properties of the stroke, and we can see this dash property. If we hit that plus sign, hey look, there's some dashes, and we got 10 dashes. Got this weird little connected bit here, so if you just finesse that, it will separate, finding that sweet spot. Let's say 9. Yeah, that works. And then what's cool is if you hit that plus sign again, it will add like dashes with the dashes. And if you do it one more time, it will add more dashes. So if we change this next property to, let's say 100, we got this cool, interesting sort of sporadic look with this outer element. So we can just call this outer circle. And then we can call this guy inner element. And we can just go to that rotation property and we'll hit Alt on that keyboard and we'll type time times, let's say 5. And what this is gonna do is that rotation property is at 0, but it's gonna adopt the value of the time. So for every 1 second, the rotation will be 1, but we multiply it by 5 so it moves a little faster. So if we hit enter, now it's going to do a little bit of a rotation. And then what's really cool is if we duplicate that, we can get a second one and we can hit UU on that keyboard. And we can change the size of it and get a different circle element. So now it's just kind of scaling down, and now we have a second one. And then what you could do is you can hit EE on that keyboard to reveal all the expressions that you have on that layer, and then let's multiply that by -5, and that means it'll go in the opposite direction. So if we hit enter, now it's going the other way. Now we got our outer bits. This second circle I made, I do want to make one small change that adds a little bit of organicness. We'll hit 5 on the stroke width, so maybe it looks a little different. Let's try 3. Something really subtle. And personally, I'm gonna scale that up so it's just on the outside of, maybe a little more. So yeah, we got an outer element that's going counterclockwise and clockwise. Now where the fun really happens. Let's make one more shape layer, and that is going to be, once again, a circle. We'll select all our layers, hit U to collapse all those properties so we don't see them, and we'll hit our shape layer tool once again. We're gonna go into that ellipse path. We'll set it to, say, 500 for now, but this is gonna change. So here's where the fun happens. We want to create some segments within the center of this. Now, to do that, we could either duplicate a bunch of layers and change the properties individually, or we can do it the expression way, the smart way, where we can basically write some expressions so that it will duplicate the layer and change those properties randomly. So to do that, first we're gonna affect the size. So we're gonna alt click on the size of that property. We're gonna first type seed random. And this will basically choose the random numbers within the expression. So we're gonna set it to the index, which is the layer number, so index. And then we're gonna make sure it's set to timeless equals true. You could just type 1 in here if you wanted to, but what this is saying is we don't want it to change the value over time. It's going to be a static number. So with that done, we will now go into the actual expression part. We will type X. We need to make a variable because this is this is an array property, so it has 2 values. So I'll say hit X, random, negative, or let's say not negative, because we could have a negative scale, but we don't want it for this position. We want to set it to, let's say, 300 to, say, if our outer circle is 900, let's just say 800. So then we set an array X, comma X, and then, oh, I made a boo-boo. Oh, you need to have X equals. There we go. So now it is at 460.5. And if we duplicate that, it'll make another layer. And we just do it again and again and again. Now we got these circles, but right now they're just circles. So what are we gonna do to change it up a little bit? Next, we're gonna go to add and trim paths, and we're going to set this to, let's say, 20%. And then what we see is this little segment of a circle. And if we duplicate that now, we get segments at 20% of the total circle. So that's kind of cool, but what if we wanted to change the position or the rotation of it? So what we could do is we can hit R on our keyboard and it'll reveal the rotation property, and we'll basically make a similar expression to the scale expression. So we'll hit Alt on that property and we'll type seed random, index timeless equals true, random 0, 360, because rotation has 360 degrees, so we wanted to adopt a value between 0 and 360. So if we hit enter, then that value changed. So now it's 20.8. Now if we duplicate that again, now we have a second circle in a different rotation position. And we just doop, boop, boop, boop. And hey, look, that's kind of cool, but it needs some movement. So what we're gonna do is undo all of that again, and we're gonna make a variable for that rotation property that we just made. So we'll say x equals random, and then we'll do time times, let's say 3 plus x. So what that's going to do is it's going to adopt the value of time similarly to the outer circles and then add the random value. So if we duplicate that, they're all going to be circling now, which is kind of cool. But what if we wanted some of them to go in the opposite direction? Now this is where things might get a little hairy, but stick around. Just trust me, it'll make sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to make an if-else statement. And basically what that is, it's an expression that says if this happens, then do this, otherwise do this. So the way we write that is we're going to write if left parenthesis, right parenthesis, index this layer, the number of the layer, modulus 2, which is basically dividing the value by the number here by 2. And if it equals 0, as in it's an even number, then we want this value. We want time times 3 plus x, which is the random number. So boop. And then we will curly brackets those, and then else we will type the same thing, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna do -3 curly bracket. Hit enter, nothing happens, but if we play it, it's circling. We can see very subtly. And then if we duplicate that, the second one will go in the opposite direction. Now, that's going a little too slow for me, so we're gonna increase the speed of this. So let's say 8. These numbers, again, are arbitrary. It could be anything you want. Could go a little faster. Let's say 20, sure. Let's be adventurous. And now we have this, so they're both going in the opposite direction. If we just duplicate, correct me, let's get rid of these two. So they're all going at the same rate, and duplicate, and duplicate, and duplicate, and duplicate. And now we got some shape layers that are sort of changing their value based on the number of layers that we have. So what's cool about this method is that we could create some cool looking HUD elements by just changing some simple properties inside a shape layer and then adding some expressions to change their value over time. So I'll cut it off here because ultimately I wanted you to take away that you can create cool looking elements with expressions without having to do all that much design work. And as a motion designer, I like designing things, but I also like doing the motion thing. So if I can find ways where I can work a little bit faster, and realistically, like a HUD element, it's not a centerpiece to a motion design. It just adds a little bit of life, a little bit of extra pizzazz, or whatever you want to call it. So this is one way I like to make HUD elements in After Effects. So now what you could do here is you could take all these layers and pre-compose them. We'll call this HUD element number 1. And then now we have it as one layer, and we can add some effects to it, like a glow, and bring that intensity down, bring up the threshold. That glow looks like butt right now. Let's really bring that down. And then let's say maybe a fill and put that above the, maybe set that to a nice blue. So yeah, you can do a lot of cool things just once you have the actual layer built, and then it's just there. And now you could export that if you want to, or yeah, but really what I wanted you to take away is that you can do some cool things with expressions without doing all that much work. So I hope this video was enjoyable and entertaining. Not entertaining, it probably wasn't that entertaining. I hope this was educational in some captions. If it was entertaining, thank you very much for being entertained by my video. We got a couple new subscribers, so let's talk about those peeps really quick and just welcome them. All right, so the new people we have on the channel, I think we're at 180 right now, but we have a Casey Bunce. Thank you very much, Casey. I appreciate it. And don't see a profile picture, but I'm sure you're cool. I hope you, if you train, I hope you get some good stretching or mobility. If you're having a good lunch, I hope it's delicious. I don't know. Thanks, Casey. And Mike Drayton, thank you again for subscribing to my channel. I appreciate you coming by. I hope if you like camera stuff, I hope you get a cool camera or do some cool pictures this week. We got Robert Palacios. And Robert, I think you're cool, man. I appreciate you coming by. If you shoot video, I hope that whatever shot you get just comes out perfectly exposed with some cool movement and some, I don't know, like background blurry bokeh. I hope whatever you do is awesome. Robert Reyes, so 2 Roberts. And hey Robert, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. And in your profile picture, I like your hair. I just got a haircut, but I was honestly thinking, it looks like you have a mohawk, and I was thinking about doing that, but I wanted to go for that like Kylo Ren look, because I'm edgy and weird. And then Chris Bonnie, hello Chris, thank you very much for subscribing. And hey, whatever you're having for dinner, I hope it's delicious. I'm having tonight probably some sweet potato and some broccoli and egg whites because I'm lazy and not gonna go to the store, but I hope yours is more delicious than that. And Taste Critiques. Hey man, thanks so much. Taste Critique. Do you like food? I like food. I like food too much. So I hope you have some pancakes soon. That'd be delicious. Anyways, that is all the new subscribers. Thank you very much for watching this video. I know the intro and outro is long, but thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend, week, whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.